Hi everyone. All right. Oops. Let me adjust the microphone. Hello. Um, well, just a side note. I don't think you should compliment Lei because last time during live stream, someone commented on my nice hair, and look what happened. I cut it and had it permed, and now I have a head full of messy short hair. So, anyways, so do not compliment Lei, or she will do something to change it. Oh, okay, all right. Let's be serious. All right, there's the expression: when the cat's away, the mice will play. When Xi Jinping, the top cat in China, is away for 9 days, will others in China take advantage of his absence? All right, welcome to Leisrealtalk. I'm Lei. Chinese society recently witnessed a bike ride phenomenon over the weekend. Yeah, last Friday, where hundreds of thousands of young people rode bikes to a nearby city to enjoy steamed buns. Meanwhile, Chinese leader Xi Jinping is set to embark on a 9-day trip to South America starting November the 13th. History has shown that communist regimes are particularly vulnerable to coup d'etat when their top leaders are absent for extended periods. Drawing a parallel between past events and China's current precarious political situation, I can't help but wonder what will unfold when Xi Jinping is out of the country for 9 days. Let's try to find an answer together tonight. All right, so Xi Jinping, let me tell you about Xi Jinping's itinerary. So he will start a 9-day trip to Peru and Brazil starting tomorrow, the 13th. To attend the APEC meeting. The APEC, I think it's called the Leaders Official Meeting. That's in Peru, and then the G20 summit in Brazil. She took a few long trips that lasted 9 days or more during the early years of his rule. He hasn't taken extended trips in the past 6 years. Given the current domestic and international challenges, his prolonged absence can leave the domestic situation more precarious, right, amid intensified political struggles. The last time he went on a long trip was 6 years ago in 2018. It was November 2018 when he visited Brunei, the Philippines, and then one other country. What was it? Papua New Guinea? Is that how you say Papua? Papua New Guinea for a total of 10 days. And most of his recent trips were 3 days. The longest of his recent trip was the European trip in May, which lasted 6 days. When Xi Jinping's power is unstable, he doesn't like to be away for a long time. Communist leaders' long absence from domestic politics makes them vulnerable to coup d'etat. And there are several precedents. So the first one is in October 1964. Former Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev was on vacation in the Black Sea when members of the Communist Party leadership staged a coup against him. He was forced to resign from all his positions, officially, quoting or citing age and health reasons. One of the organizers of the coup, Brezhnev, succeeded him. And then in August 1991, then Soviet leader Gorbachev was on vacation in Crimea when a coup attempt was initiated by hardline members of his government. Gorbachev was held under house arrest for 3 days when the coup later faced opposition led by Boris Yeltsin. The event, he was eventually freed, but the event accelerated the collapse of the Soviet Union. Now, both coups occurred during the time when the leaders were away from Moscow. It highlights how extended physical absence in a totalitarian regime creates a power vacuum for the leader's rivals. Now, in China, former CCP leader Zhao Ziyang was away on a state visit to North Korea for 8 days from April 23rd to the 30th in 1989. This was after the student pro-democracy movement broke out. The CCP leadership was divided on how to handle the students. Zhao was sympathetic to the students. Before his trip to North Korea, he convinced Deng Xiaoping to be lenient with the students. While he was away, while he was on the trip, the protests transpired into hunger strikes, and it drew widespread public sympathy and support. So when Zhao returned to Beijing, the mood shifted, and Deng Xiaoping had sided with the hardliners. And Zhao visited Tiananmen Square, where he made his famous speech, and he pleaded the students to end hunger strikes. The very next day, CCP ordered martial law, and Zhao was ousted. And he stayed under house arrest for 15 years until his death. So when comparing China and Xi Jinping's current situation to these historical events, there are several striking similarities. The first is the leadership is not the Communist Party's rule is not stable. The leadership is divided. So that was the situation in the former Soviet Union. That was the situation in 1989. And it is the situation now. Xi Jinping has many political enemies who want him out. And the ongoing political infighting is intense. I have covered this for the past several weeks. That's the first similarity. And the second similarity is China is on the brink of a mass movement, which already started. I will talk about it later. This is what I call the bike ride movement, or the steamed bun revolution. I gave it a name, or steamed bun revolt. It's not yet a revolution yet, but it's a revolt. So that's a second similarity. And the third is the top leader will be away during this tumultuous time. Now, speaking of Xi Jinping's power being challenged, like I said, I had addressed that in a number of my programs in the past weeks. You can watch them. I covered topics about who's, all the changes in the PLA, who's actually controlling the PLA. I talked about, other theories or people who have obtained insider information from Beijing about the concessions that the conciliatory moves that Xi Jinping made with some of the people. So I'm not going to repeat those here, but what I want to do is give you an update. There has been some updates. So first of all, recently, the secretary of Zhejiang Provincial Party Committee, his name is Yi Lianhong. It's a mouthful to say. I do have a picture of him. That's this man. He was suddenly demoted to a position in the Financial and Economic Affairs Committee of the National People's Congress. He is a diehard Xi Jinping loyalist who openly pledged loyalty to Xi Jinping by authoring articles in People's Daily. He had been the party secretary of Zhejiang for less than 2 years. The term is usually 5 years. Now, Zhejiang is an important province, not only because it's one of Xi Jinping's home bases. Xi Jinping had been a provincial leader in Zhejiang, and many of his officials, the people he promoted, have come from Zhejiang. So not only it's an important home base for Xi Jinping, but also it's a wealthy province that generates tax revenue for the central government. Now, Yi's early departure right? He's only been in the job for even under 2 years. He was promoted in December 2022, so it's not even 2 years. So his early departure was shocking to people. It reflects Xi Jinping's inability to protect his close allies in power struggles. It's another indication of a major political setback for him, because unless the guy seriously, made a mistake or violated some rules, but even that Xi Jinping to save his face, he could have saved him in the position. He could have, kept him in the position for a little longer, at least for the next 3 years until his term matures, or it sounds like a bond, until his term, ends. So the fact that the guy is not even halfway through his term and he got demoted tells us something, that this guy is forced out, and it's probably not Xi Jinping's choice, because it doesn't make him look good. And the second breaking news is a member of the Central Military Commission has been removed, and this Miao Hua, you probably have heard of him. He is one of the usually 7 members of the Central Military Commission, but now there are only 6 of them because one position was not filled. The defense minister, Li Shangfu, when he was sacked, his position in the CMC was not filled by the current defense minister. So there are 6 of them, and Xi Jinping is the chairman, of course. So now Miao Hua is also a close Xi Jinping ally, and he oversees PLA's propaganda work and personnel. Okay, so that's a tremendous job. So he is the head of HR and also head of propaganda within the Chinese military. Now, 2 separate sources revealed simultaneously yesterday on X, saying that Admiral Mao was taken into custody 3 days ago. Now, Miao's downfall signifies a severe blow to Xi Jinping's Fujian faction in the military. Miao came from the Navy, and he, as the head of the PLA's HR, he promoted a large number of senior officers within the PLA, and including the commander. The 2 recent promotions, one is the commander of the rocket force, Wang Houbing, and the other is the defense minister, Admiral Dong Jun. Both of them came from the Navy. So it's said that Miao has built an extensive network by planting his people, a lot of them from the Navy, because that's where he came from, in top leadership positions in the PLA. So now people try to figure out who actually removed him or brought him down. Some believe that Zhang Youxia brought him down, because Zhang Youxia doesn't like the fact that probably doesn't agree with a lot of the personnel decisions he made. So this is one opinion, and the other opinion says that Xi Jinping took him down because he no longer trusts him anymore, because Miao has become too powerful in controlling the PLA's personnel. So regardless of whose decision it was to remove Miao, it's a heavy blow to Xi Jinping. And also, Miao's downfall may affect the new defense minister and the new rocket force commander, whom he promoted from the Navy. So having gone through so many purging, and with this, we have a member of the CMC, being taken into custody for investigation. It's a serious blow to the PLA's morale, and things don't look very good for Xi Jinping. All right, so that's my 2 updates on the internal political struggle that just came out in the last couple of days, I think 2 to 3 days. So so it just, I mean, these are more evidence to show that Xi Jinping's power is threatened. Okay, so other than the heightened political struggles, the second parallel in the recent student night ride movement, aka the steamed bun revolution, that's the second similarity with these historical events. Now, let me come back. All right. The Chinese leader had hoped that November would be an eventful month for its adversary, the US, as the Chinese anticipated the delayed result of the US election, or they anticipated that the delayed result of the US election would divide the country, causing social chaos in the US. China's state media embellished this narrative. Right? I shared that with you over the weekend, I think, or last week. But to their disappointment, the election result came out rather quickly. Trump won, Harris conceded, and Biden promised a peaceful transition of power. However, ironically, in China, the first half of November has been more than eventful. Young people's bike rides have turned into a mass movement, bigger than the white paper movement during the COVID lockdowns. So last Friday night, young people gathered in the hundreds of thousands in Zhengzhou to ride their bike to nearby ancient city Kaifeng. And the movement quickly spread to other cities and causing the officials to panic. So let me give you how it started. So it started actually in June. So it's been a while. It's not new. So on June 18th, 4 female college students in Zhengzhou wanted to have some guantangbao. It's kind of a soup dumplings, but I think it's bigger. Yeah, it's steamed bun filled with soup. Okay, and so they were craving for that in Kaifeng, which is 50 kilometers or 20 miles away. It was at night and there was no bus running, and it was too expensive for them to take the high-speed rail. So the 4 young women decided to ride their ride-share bikes, and they arrived the next morning, I think 3 to 4 hours later. And they called their experience, quote, "We only live young once." And they shared their journey on social media, and it went viral. Their experience was copied by other college students since. And on Saturday, November the 2nd, 10,000 young people rode bikes from Zhengzhou to Kaifeng to kind of do what they did. And then on the following weekend, that's Friday, November the 8th, a total of 200,000 young people did that. And the bikes, or the bikers, stretched out over 10 kilometers long on the road, and the police didn't know what to do with them. Now, many of these young people, they were attracted to Kaifeng, which is an ancient capital city. They were attracted to Kaifeng for food and sightseeing, such as going to the Qingming Riverside Landscape Garden, which offers free admission until the end of December. However, the mass cycling event or activity, whether intentional or not, has formed a protest, right? It's perceived as a protest, and it felt like a protest against a stifling society and a suffocating environment where young people face fierce competition and joblessness. Now, older people were also attracted too. When I say older people, I mean people older than the 19-year-old and the 20-year-old. They're not old at all. But people from other walks of life used the opportunity to make a statement, and this includes veterans. So here we have. So hold on. Let me make this. Yeah, so this is a video showing a group of veterans announcing who they are, where they came from, and it's quite interesting.
荷兰8年无解，夜袭开封 ，Let's go！ 原中国人民解放军陆军，咱们今天晚上夜袭开封，兄弟们出发！ 8年空军夜袭开封，我们退伍军人永不褪色。
8年战之，身为退伍军人，掉皮掉肉掉队，夜袭开封，走起！
我家军官员夜袭开封，冲！8年陆军夜袭开封，冲！5年空军退伍不褪色，夜袭开封，走，锻炼身体。
50军创带领战友一起夜袭开封，走吧
！5年空军夜袭开封，走，冲！8年武警不能掉队，夜袭开封。5年空军夜袭开封，进攻！
All right. So that's this group, and you can see why the authorities are concerned. So the cyclist chanted, "Long live the CCP." Here, I have a video. It's very interesting. This they actually chanted, "Long live the CCP."
亲爱的同学们，开封已形成交通封锁，吃饭住宿已无力接待，请大家安全有序返回。
所有学校有免费的大巴车，把大家送回原地。
The government organized a bus because these young people rode the shared bike shares one way, and they left the bikes there. So the government organized buses to bus them back to Zhengzhou. Some held China's national flags, and some sang China's national anthem. This is from Nanjing. These are in other cities. They're not all from Zhengzhou. Oh, they're singing the national anthem. This is the train station. Okay, so as you can see that people were singing national anthem. I mean, I think it was these students' strategy to actually like sing national anthem, chant "Long live the CCP," or even calling slogans like "Unification for China is a must," and some held a banner that says "Freedom." So they're trying to say these politically correct slogans or messages to stay out of trouble, to show that their move is patriotic. I think whether they believe in what they say is a different story, but they said they want to say the politically correct things to avoid the suspicion that they were protesting. However, they didn't realize that singing the national anthem is seriously troublesome for the regime. I just want to show you the lyrics of China's national anthem. I mean, the clip that you saw, the people were singing, arise, all those who refuse to be slaves, and as the Chinese nation faces its greatest, peril, all four, I mean, march on, I mean, all rise up. I mean, this, this is what the regime is afraid of, because it's very provocative. That just tells you when the people in a country, when the national anthem becomes too dangerous for those in power to hear, then that means this regime can no longer rule. It cannot last, because it's just it's, yeah. Anyways, so but the students, I think they don't understand that the national anthem actually, is it touches the CCP's nerves, right? It's not something that they want to hear. So at first, the authorities believed that the event could boost tourism and stimulate the economy. However, as it grew bigger, they became fearful. And this led to bike-sharing companies, locking their shared bikes, and police being deployed to patrol the roads, and universities implementing lockdowns to prevent students from leaving campuses. And the schools have now warned the students that if they go out to do this again, it will be a political mistake that will ruin their future. That means they will not be able to find a job or possibly getting their degrees. So the schools are warning the students. However, the authorities' attempt to suppress and downplay the event have only made it grow bigger, because it has spread nationwide. University students in Wuhan, Nanjing, Hefei, Chengdu, and other cities have also initiated night rides. In one instance, 6 university students from Tianjin biked 109 kilometers directly to Tiananmen Square in Beijing. And now, because they locked, the bike share companies locked the bikes, some students are talking about repeating the same movement but on foot. But think about it, how can the authorities stop people from walking? So the scale of this movement has exceeded the white paper movement, and it's reminiscent of the Cultural Revolution, in which young people traveled around the country to make a statement about their causes. And that's exactly what's happening now, because there have been students from other parts of China who went to Zhengzhou last Friday. And a Beijing mother shared a video about her son and 600 Beijing students who took the high-speed rail from Beijing to Zhengzhou to join Friday night's ride. So not everyone from the 200,000 young people who came out that evening were local, some of them from faraway places. So, and now, with the authorities suppressing the students, there are not people can't find any post about this. They're being scrubbed from the internet. Someone wrote a song, and the song is spreading. And this song is funny. It's called "To My Dear Mom, the Party." I mean, it's the, you know how the CCP calls itself like the parent or the mother of the Chinese people. So this song is it's 3 minutes long, but I think it's funny. I laughed when I watched it, and I think it would be great if this song goes viral in China, and I heard that it has. So here's the funny song that they wrote. Here we go.
亲爱的妈妈，您不要慌，不要怕，我们没有说你坏话，更不敢把你骂。当啊，亲爱的妈妈，您不要慌。 慌，不要怕，我们只是到开封吃吃包子，同学们一起说说话。啊，亲爱的妈妈，您不要慌，不要怕，这个国家您是老大，14亿人只听您的话。我们敬爱的习大大，多次为包子站台和讲话，虽没北京、天津的包子名气大，我们开封的包子味道也不差。吃包子，为什么我们的习大大多次为包子站台和讲话？到那亲爱的妈妈，您不要慌，不要怕，开封的包子好吃个头大，吃完包子我们就返校啦。亲爱的妈妈，您不要慌，不要怕，开封的包子好吃个头大，吃完包子我们就返校啦，您就放心吧。刚刚还红路了，刚刚还动笑了，如果把习大大吓坏了，问题就闹大了，您就麻烦啦。干妈还封路了，干妈还碰上了，如果把习大大吓坏了，问题就闹大了，您就麻烦啦，您就吃不了兜着走啦。
All right. Okay. Wow. Music, music video for Leisrealtalk. I mean, if you really look at the lyrics of that song, I mean, everything is very benign. Everything is very benign. I mean, they're speaking the truth. They're talking about how they feel. They're saying it's harmless. Don't worry. We're just gonna eat some steamed buns and then we'll return to school. And we only listen to you. We only listen to you. And then we like steamed buns because you have, I mean, Xi Jinping has publicly spoke about steamed buns, and he's given the nickname steamed bun by some Chinese because he seems to like them. So the song seems to be totally harmless, but then it sends a very clear political message. I mean, in a way, if you understand, modern Chinese culture, it has a subtle political message underneath it. So I thought that was very, very interesting. And now the CCP has relied on. I want to talk about a phenomena in Chinese society that probably no other people have mentioned. The CCP has relied on manipulating public opinion to create mass movements historically to serve its political purpose. During the Cultural Revolution, young people responded to Chairman Mao's call, right? And threw themselves into a mass movement. So due to decades of brainwashing and the lack of freedom, Chinese are more prone to mass movements than people in any other countries. And they do this even for commercial activities. So I want to give you an example. So in March last year, an unknown city in Shandong with 4.7 million population called Zibo attracted 4.8 million visitors when young people discovered that the city's barbecue was affordable and tasty. Actually, I have I have pictures. So this was last March. I mean, from March to May. And high-speed rail. And it started with the students because they were cheap, affordable, and tasty. So the students were talking about it. And then high-speed rail from Beijing to Zibo sold out in a minute. The tickets were all gone. People came from all over China to this city to taste the local barbecues. And during the peak travel days of the May holiday, there were more people in one market in Zibo than the amount of people on the Great Wall. Can you imagine that? So this is one picture I found, and the city provided barbecue tables in an area as large as 12 football fields. People waited hours to be able to have barbecue, if there's any left. And young people, basically, this fad was created by young people and the internet. So they created this extreme barbecue fad in China, which lasted for a few months. You don't see it anymore. I mean, it's gone. It has died down. And local restaurants are losing money. All the new restaurants that opened during that time, thinking that they could keep this frenzy, are losing money now because it was only for that period of time. So you see, compare with people in other countries, Chinese people have a higher tendency to organize mass movements. Like if someone said barbecue in this small city in Shandong is worth it, you will see tens of thousands of people arrive in a day. And when you have 4 young ladies, said that riding bikes for hours to eat steamed buns in Kaifeng was fun, young people would, get organized, and to copy them. You don't see this type of behavior in other countries because young people there have choices. They have choices, and they have a variety of activities to choose from. It's unlikely that they all want the same thing at the same time, and from the same place. But in China, it's different. Because people's life and mindset are controlled by the government. And when someone said something, they all want to do it. However, and this is the result of being brainwashed for decades, from generation to generation. But this type of behavior or mindset is going to come back to haunt the regime. Because from what we have seen, in Zhengzhou with the bike ride, it started as a commercial activity or leisure activity, and it grew. It grew into a political movement, right? So and the worst is it can erupt anywhere at any time because you have no control. You don't know. It can start as anything. It can be a fad for soup dumplings or steamed buns, or anything, or barbecue. And then it grew into a revolution. So this is what Zhengzhou's night ride movement or steamed bun revolution is, a desperate somatic expression of a country that, after enduring many forms of suppression, after their government kept denying people's economic hardship, as well as their psychological burdens, vents their frustration, as well as seeks hope through a small act of defiance. The country has beaten itself into such a state of amnesia that when happy memory flashes for a slight moment, it sparks people's enthusiasm like there's no tomorrow. That's what happened, because this kind of craziness would never happen in other countries. It's impossible because we have choices. We have our own hobbies and lives, and there's no way this could happen in other countries. But it's very unique to China, and we see that happen from time to time. But now it has the potential to grow into a political movement. Also, student movements have played a transformative role in modern Chinese history. From the 1911 revolution that overthrew the Qing dynasty to the 1990 May 4th student movement protesting the Treaty of Versailles, which gave Shandong province to Japan, to the Red Guards during the Cultural Revolution, to the Tiananmen Square pro-democracy movement in June 1989, to the umbrella movement in Hong Kong in 2014, and to the white paper movement in 2021 that ended zero COVID. Chinese students are at the forefront of these transformative movements, and they have spearheaded almost all social movements in modern Chinese history. And the CCP knows it, and that's why they're scared. Now, think about it. When tens of millions of young people who can find a job and don't have anything to do, but has time or but have time and energy, I don't think they're going to sit there and do nothing after this, after witnessing what happened this past weekend. The authorities blame the students for being disruptive because they ride the bike share bikes one way and then took the public transportation back. So they end up leaving all the bikes in another city, causing the authorities having to use trucks to bring the bikes back. So the authorities are saying that that's illegal, and whoever does this will be fined. If you leave the bike out of town, you'll be fined. So that's a legitimate government complaint. So now people are organizing a mass walking movement. The students are saying, well, we're not going to ride bikes. We're gonna walk. And some people ask why they didn't ride the bike back. It's because from Zhengzhou to Kaifeng, it's downhill. And then the other way around is uphill. And it's very tiring for some people, for women. So it's easier going that direction, but not coming back. So people are talking about, well, we're just going to walk. And that's threatening. Think about it. If people organize a mass walk movement, how is the authority going to stop them? Right? I mean, there's no way, unless they lock down the entire city. Otherwise, it's hard to stop people from walking en masse. But locking down the cities would be met with bigger consequences because the Chinese people are very sensitive to lockdowns, again. So I think what happened this last weekend in Zhengzhou, in Henan, helped the Chinese realize their power. When a lot of people, you don't have to protest. You don't have to say anything. But when a lot of people gather and do one thing, regardless of what it is, and as long as it's a large crowd, the CCP is nervous. People have realized their power. I think the CCP is sitting on a powder keg. I will have to see what happens in the next 10 days. Xi Jinping leaves tomorrow, or maybe now, because it's in China, it's already the 13th. He leaves for Peru for the APEC leaders' informal meeting. And from there, he will go to Brazil for the G20 summit. So let's keep our eye on the students in China while he's gone. Who knows? With the political infighting in Beijing, with this happening, on the ground, with him being away, I think we should keep our eyes in China. That's all I want to say tonight. I hope you enjoy the videos, particularly the music video. All right, let's see if people have any questions for me. All right. D-dub. Well, thank you. B, sorry. B-dub. B-dub. Thank you, B. All right. Okay, very good music. I agree. It actually lightened up my day when I was preparing for the talk. I'm like, I'll have to play this piece of music. And I think the lyrics was hilarious. You know, it's all about steamed buns. Like, please, let's just have some, you know, it's almost like a kid, you know, pleading to his mother, you know, "Oh, please, you know, let me go. All I want is some steamed buns. And you've talked about steamed buns, you know, and we'll behave." uh, all right. All right. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. So when the cat's away, the the mice, um, the mice play. All right. I think that's all. Kiwi, Leisrealtalk. Did you know yesterday was Lay's Day? It was registered as holiday on National Happy. Oh, you mean the Hawaiian Lay Day? I'm not quite sure what you mean Lay's Day. Veterans Day? It's Veterans Day, right? Why is it called Lay's Day? Am I missing something? Monday Loons. Hey Lei, what's your thoughts on Chinese influence to the Philippines? There is a large portion of Chinese enclaves in Manila in recent years. Is the Philippines going to be swayed for Beijing someday? There's a lot of Chinese are moving to Southeast Asian countries now that the economic situations in China is getting dire. But even before that, you know, there are large Chinese populations in the Philippines. So the question is the Philippines going to be swayed for Beijing someday? I think with the CCPs' egregious behavior in the South China Sea, I think the Filipino government is, you know, turning. I mean, previously they were they were more towards Beijing than Washington. Now I think there would be. I mean, Beijing is pushing them away to Washington. So, but the Chinese influence in the Philippines is tremendous, precisely because of the large Chinese population there. Okay. Johnny Garner, what would a successful movement change in Chinese society? What would a successful movement change? I think at this point it will be people just want freedom. People, I think, are testing. I don't think these people necessarily have any political agenda. Like, okay, these are the 10 demands we want from the government. They're not organized. They're completely spontaneous movement. But they may be organizers among the students. But their whole intention is just do this. I mean, if you look at people are not happy, you know, particularly young people. I mean, with their energy, their hormone, they need to do something, right? To feel excited about their future, but they're suppressed. They can't do anything. Their prospect of finding a job is not there. So this sort of activity excites them. That's why they do it. I don't think they necessarily have any political agenda. I don't think they have any. I mean, in fact, they don't want to upset. I mean, even the song says, yeah, if Papa Xi is scared, then we'll be in trouble, and then you'll be in trouble, meaning the party, the regime will be in trouble. But I think people just want to test to see how much they can. They just want to push the buttons and see where they can go, how far they can go. I think that's what's on everybody's mind. They don't necessarily want to achieve anything because they don't have any agenda. You know, it's just, okay, we want this. And I think this is the safest way for them to test their power, because on the surface, they're just like, okay, well, young people want to, you know, ride their bikes to go to another city for some fun. And why that's not allowed. You know, I mean, it's hard for the government to defend itself. So I think Chinese people are very smart. They're finding harmless ways to fight with the government, in a way that makes the government difficult to defend any suppression, or open suppression. I mean, they're still suppressing the students secretly behind the back, but openly it's hard for them. I mean, the only excuse they're saying is you rode the bikes one way, and that created a mess for us to clean up because we have to shuttle 200,000 bikes back, and that's hard. So I think young people have learned a lesson from that, and I think they're organizing something different without involving the bikes. But that's a good question. Netflix foreign. Imagine if this becomes the final draw for CCP and this becomes a holiday in China on the 11th. It would be wonderful that the US and China share a holiday regarding freedom. On the 11th. You mean November 11th? November 11th was the Singles Day for the Chinese. It's not a holiday in the US, right? Yeah. Your English, somebody said, Wilson Dizzard. Your English pronunciation is excellent. Well, thank you. I fumbled on the pronunciation of Kamala Harris. Every time I say her, I try to avoid saying her name because every time I'm about to say her name, I have this big puzzle on my face. Think, is it Kamala or Kamala? Anyways, the relevant term is broadcast quality. Please disregard complaints. Keep up the good work. What relevant term? Broadcast quality. I forgot. Sorry. I broadcast quality. Maybe I missed what you were talking about. Alan Mandel, do you think China will devalue to leave business and consumers reliant to buy from China? Could that be a soft attack on the USA that would negate Trump's logic to boost manufacture? I think the currency war, that topic is too complex to explain. I think it requires a whole episode of program to that topic. So I'll save that for future. Okay. Man with no name heard he's prioritizing deporting illegal military age. Okay, that's not addressed to me. 11/11. Yeah, we should set up November 11th as a Freedom Day. That would be a good idea. And both countries, countries around the world all celebrate it. It's Young People's Day, right? And we could name it as a Freedom Day. So that give the Chinese young people a day to celebrate their youth. Frank K. November 11th is the Memorial Day in Canada for the First World War veterans. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, someone say he's saying you, Lei, are broadcast quality. Am I? Okay, well, thank you. I don't think so. People who have followed my channel long enough know how I struggle to pronounce names. So when you see me look at the names and start to smile, you know Lei is struggling. Okay, well, thank you. Daniel Dorns. November 11th is Veteran Day holiday in the US. Yeah, this year it does. Okay. I reached the bottom of all the questions. I hope you enjoy this program. And Adam Weiss, Lei, you are doing a great service to the people who need a voice. You're amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you. If you haven't watched my latest video on the PLA's weaknesses, I suggest you watch that. It was one of the most difficult videos I've ever produced because trying to review all the videos and trying to understand this author's writing and trying to, because in his writing, I mean, he just mentioned the videos, and then I have to find the relevant video, the clip, the relevant clip video, watch it, understand what he's saying, and then try and, you know, and go through everything, trying to absorb it and make sense in my head. It took some time. It was almost very painful because I'm not a military expert, but I knew what he wrote was very, very insightful. So I was determined to drill down and get to the bottom of that. And I'm glad that I did. So I hope if you haven't watched that video, I hope you do. All right, that's all for tonight. And thank you. I'll see you Thursday. All righty. Bye.